Hi everybody, my name is Jillian and I just felt called to start up my YouTube channel again. It's been a long time since I've made a YouTube post. So for those of you who haven't met me before, I find it hard to put a label on what I do because I've got a lot of different strings to my bow, but I guess you could call me an energy worker. I'm a spiritual and holistic coach. I'm also a writer, and that's one of the ways that I've felt called to show up recently and make my contribution, particularly during this lockdown phase. So, if I haven't met you before, I have a website www.jillwebster.com, also a Facebook page, Jillian Webster Living from the Heart, and I've been a bit more active on my Twitter page recently. So, I want to talk to you today about a subject which I've been dealing with all my life, and that subject is being a very sensitive person, and that subject is managing overwhelm. And I'm sure if you pressed play on this video, then the title appealed to you, and it's also something that you've been dealing with in your life. And it might have been heightened for you, particularly during this lockdown phase. But it's something that we're dealing with in life, on a day-to-day basis. We're just juggling our roles and responsibilities in life and trying to keep ourselves in balance, trying to keep our giving and our receiving in balance. So if you have been following me over the last few years, you will know that things collapsed for me about 3 years ago. And this can happen quite regularly when we're on our spiritual journey. Things collapse for us to rebuild and reevaluate our life, which I believe that this lockdown phase is certainly, for those of you who aren't working and have a lot more time in your hands right now, this is the perfect time to reevaluate your life and look at making changes and perhaps different choices in your life. So part of in this lockdown for me, I've had, I'm fortunate that I've been furloughed on full pay over the last few months. So it's been a real phase of rebuilding myself. And part of that rebuilding phase for me 3 years ago when things collapsed was to go back into part-time work. And that was very beneficial for me in many ways. It's been a way to bring in the pennies, but also to just meet lots of different people. It's the job I have. It's a very sociable job, so I'm seeing lots of people on a day-to-day basis. So if anybody from my work is watching, hello to you, and look forward to catching up with you again in person soon. So I want to pass on some tools on the subject of managing overwhelm, because as the light workers and the way shores and the empaths and the star seeds, I believe that we're exactly where we're needing to be right now, doing what we're doing, showing up, making our contribution, and we've chosen to be here at this time, at this very important time. We're using our bodies as a conduit to anchor in this new high frequency fifth dimensional energy. We're anchoring it onto the earth for ourselves, for the planet, and we're integrating, all our physical and emotional discomforts right now are rising to the surface, and that can be quite physically and emotionally taxing on our bodies. So it's an important part of helping others, that we're just, knowing how to keep ourselves in balance, so we're able to do that. We're able to help others in the best way that we can. And I'm sure you've just been, like myself, you will have been experiencing a roller coaster of emotions during lockdown. You may have been feeling anger, you may have been feeling grief, particularly around the phases of the moon and the eclipses that we've been there's been lots of them happening the last few months. Personally, I felt very tired. There's been periods of just exhaustion for me, where I've just needed to just go into presence and really being aware of my body and what's happening in my body, and just give myself permission to rest more. And there's been phases where I've just wanted to lie in my bed. I've really been wanting to just step up my self-care, and it's been great to have the time to do that. And it's something that I've been talking about for years, but we can be talking about all this stuff and we can know this stuff, but it's a whole different ball game to actually put it into practice in our lives. And we're certainly getting a chance right now to put that into practice in our lives on a deeper level, and hopefully we can carry that on as we move out of lockdown and things start to speed up again. So, tool number one is about detaching from drama. And like I said, this is just common sense. We all know it, but it's a whole different ball game putting it into practice. And because there is so much craziness happening in the world right now, in our lives, perhaps with our families, and just everything that's going on around us, detaching from drama is so important. And I've been showing up a lot more on Facebook. As I said, I've felt called to write, and it's very easy to get pulled into things. I've been watching a lot of YouTube posts which have really raised my energy, and I felt very uplifted when I've watched them, but there's also been things that have really lowered my energy. So just inviting you to really look into your behaviors right now, and making conscious choices. Well, is what I'm doing right now, is it beneficial to me? And if it's not beneficial, then I can course correct. At every moment we've got a choice, and we can constantly course correct in our life, day to day, on a daily and moment to moment basis. And that's following on to the next tool, which is about how full is your well. And as well as detaching from drama, it's important that we go into ourselves. So I'm passing on this tool and inviting you to ask yourself, well, how full is my well? And I'm talking about, how are my energy levels? So I can do this a few times throughout the day. 10 being I'm firing on full cylinders. I really want to help people. I'm full of passion, enthusiasm, and I've got the energy to contribute in whatever way I feel to do that. One being my batteries are really flat. I haven't got much energy right now, and it's time for me to just slow things down and to practice some more self-care for myself before I can help others. So, and it's recognizing that on a daily basis, and it's something that you'll be able to take forward, as things start to speed up again and we come out of lockdown. So when I get to about a 7, my energy can get depleted quite quickly after that. So from about a 7, I really need to put in place a little bit more self-care, and top my energies up. And I was wanting to make this video a few days ago, and I started off doing it on my phone, and it's like I say, it's been a while since I've made a video, and very quickly my phone went flat. And then I tried to do it on my computer, and I didn't have enough power in my computer. So one of the things that I'm realising, if I want to make more videos on my phone, is when I come out of lockdown, I'll be getting a new phone with more memory capacity to be able to do that. But at that point I could feel my own energy levels getting quite flat, and I just made a choice in that moment to go out and have a walk, and to raise my own energies before I could come back in and make this video. And I'm very lucky where I live in Aberdeen, Scotland. I'm right by the River Don, and it really is beautiful where I live. And it's also been very peaceful, although things are starting to speed up again, and there's more traffic on the roads, I'm noticing. But I really do find walking by the water really helps to recharge myself. So I made a choice to do that, to just recharge my energies before coming back to do this video, and feeling a lot better about doing it now. And also my computer's a reflection of that. My computer's on full power again, so I'm able to do it. So tool number 3, following on from that, is about listening to your inner child. And you look at children and they just move through their energies so easily and so quickly, and that's what we're being invited to do right now. We're being invited to fully feel our emotions, and be okay with that. Just let our emotions move through us, just like what happens when we watch children. And to really exercise right now our pleasure muscles, and to do, what makes us feel good. And you've probably heard the phrase, eat a frog for breakfast. A lot of coaches will talk about that. And that's about doing the thing that you don't want to do. Get that over with first and foremost before you get on with your day and do the rest of the things. And, I would say at the moment, just turn that on its head. It's a time when we are being challenged in different ways, mentally and physically and emotionally. So it's important to do what makes us feel good. It's important to be more loving and compassionate and gentle with ourselves, and really listen to our inner child. Because if we can do that, if we can listen to our inner child, if we can honour our inner child, it just opens us up to so much creativity. And I'm just saying that in everybody around me right now. We're all creative, but we've got more time to really put that into practice right now. Whether it's writing or singing or making clothes or painting, whatever it is for you. It's just exciting to see that in the world right now. There's just a huge spiritual awakening, a huge creative awakening. And, for many people, speaking to somebody fairly recently, a friend, and, she's just going to be making some different choices in her life right now. So who knows, if you start to tap into your creativity on a regular basis, who knows, what new adventures that will lead you to. And tool number 4 is about energetic protection. And a lot of spiritual teachers will talk about, you get to a phase where you've raised your vibration so high to a frequency of love that we don't need energetic protection anymore. And I definitely do believe that, but I would say that it's hard to actually hold that frequency of love high all the time. At the moment we are going through phases of highs and lows, and it's easy to get pulled off our center. So having this and get pulled into different things, and our energy to get depleted. So having this energetic protection tools, whatever they may be for you, but I've actually created some tools for energetic protection, and also for grounding and clearing my energy, which I work with on a regular basis. And for me, when I do this grounding and clearing meditation, when I feel my energy get to about a 7, when I feel it start to deplete, it really is like plugging my mobile phone into a charger. I can feel the energy from Mother Earth just flooding up into my body, and it makes a big difference to how I feel. So inviting you to go on to my Facebook page. I've actually posted them on there. Energetic clearing and protection, and a meditation to clear, balance and strengthen your 12 chakras. And I'm not just paying lip service to everything I'm saying. I've been on this path for about 20 years. I've burned out a couple of times, and these are tools I've learned along the way to help me. And if you have been following some of the stuff I've been writing on my blog of late, you'll know that at age 50 I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And that was a real, just actually a few months ago, it was last October. And that's been a real awakening phase for me, another big spiritual awakening. To look at my own self, my own patterns of behaviour, my own beliefs, and to make different choices and to make different just tweaks and changes in my life. And for those of you that have been reading what I've been sharing, you'll know that my father was ill with MS for most of his adult life, and sadly he passed away at the end of January after a really courageous battle with MS, where he made a big contribution to many people's lives, MS charities, where he shared his own learnings to help other people with disabilities. And I was being called, my higher self was inviting me to go to my dad, and sit with him and spend a lot more time with my family over this last 3 years, which I've enjoyed doing. And but always be aware of your energy levels. This is why I'm sharing this story and how it might affect your own energy. and being around other people. My dad was ill, and I was taking on board, he wasn't able to voice what he was going through, how he was feeling, and I was absorbing a lot of that energy. I was absorbing it a bit like a vacuum cleaner. We're absorbing and we're clearing and clearing those energies through our physical bodies, and we can become depleted, and we can become ill if we don't pay attention to our own energetic housekeeping. And there's a lot more to this story, and if you want to find out a bit more about my cancer journey, you can go on to my blog. But I know that I was clearing a lot of familiar and ancestral guilt, and like I say, I was clearing that through my physical body, and that was affecting my health. So yeah, it's just a time really. You've probably heard the phrase "observe but don't absorb," and because it's never about putting blame onto another person. This is a time when we really have to get responsible for ourselves and responsible for our own lives. And if there's things we're not liking, only we are the people that we can make the changes in our life. And so observing and not absorbing, really going into our hearts and listening to ourselves. Well, does this feel true for me? And if it doesn't feel true for me, then I can make a different choice. I can course correct moment to moment in my life. We're constantly making changes through our thoughts and our words and actions, and that's going to have an effect. When we're more loving and compassionate with ourselves, that's going to bring about change, in our immediate sphere with our families. And that's one of the ways that we can bring about change in the world right now. So I'm going to be making a few more blog posts, and I'm sure video blogs. But I'm going to sign off for now, and in the meantime, looking forward to speaking to you again soon, and lots of love.